Some stories begin with victory, but this one begins with defeat. On a cold, rainy afternoon, a man walked through the city with only $20 left in his pocket. Not $20 for spending, not for comfort, not even for survival, but $20 that somehow carried the final thread of his hope. He was exhausted. Life had worn him down in ways that don't appear on the surface. Missed calls, overdue bills, unanswered job applications, and a silence in his chest that only people who have hit their limit truly understand. His shoes were soaked, his jacket thin, and his thoughts heavy. $20. That was his entire world at that moment. As he walked through the rain, he passed places that silently tempted him. A bakery, its windows fogged with warmth, promising a moment of relief. A cafe glowing with soft light and the idea of safety, even if temporary. And an old bookshop, dusty, quiet, almost forgotten by time. It didn't look special, but sometimes the places we least expect hold the changes we need most. In front of the bookshop stood a small jar with a handwritten label, Hope Fund. There were only a few coins inside. It wasn't charity, it wasn't a donation box for the poor. It was something symbolic, something gentle, like a whisper telling him to pause. And for the first time that day, he did. He walked inside. The floorboards creaked softly under his feet. The air smelled like old stories and forgotten beginnings. No one greeted him. No one tried to sell him anything. The silence inside felt strangely comforting, like a space where life wasn't rushing or demanding. Then he saw it, a worn, coverless notebook lying on a small wooden table. It looked worthless, but he opened it anyway. On the first yellowed page, he read a sentence that made him stop breathing for a moment. If you've hit rock bottom, good. The bottom is where you push off and rise. He blinked, unsure why such simple words felt so heavy. Underneath, there was one more line. Today's step, help someone. Just that. No explanation, no origin, just a simple instruction. He closed the notebook, stepped back outside, and the rain had softened into a mist. As he walked down the sidewalk, he noticed an elderly woman struggling with her grocery bags. One slipped from her hand, almost falling onto the wet concrete. For a moment, he hesitated, not because he didn't want to help, but because he felt so empty, he wondered if he still had anything to give. But then he remembered the note. He walked toward her, picked up the bag, and carried the rest for her as she slowly made her way home. She looked at him with tired but grateful eyes, and in that tiny moment, in a world where everyone was always rushing, her small smile warmed a place inside him that he thought had gone cold forever. It wasn't much, it wasn't dramatic, but it mattered. The next morning he opened his door and found a plain white envelope on the ground. No stamp, no address, just his name. Inside was a handwritten note. You have good character. Come to the bookshop tomorrow. And a simple old-fashioned business card. It didn't offer a job. It didn't offer money. It offered something more meaningful, a chance, a door, a beginning. For the first time in a long time, he felt something unfamiliar but welcome. Direction. He returned to the bookshop the next day, and that meeting became the first step of a new chapter. One built not on luck, not on wealth, but on kindness, humility, and character. He used to think the worst thing in life was having only $20 left. But he learned something far more powerful. Sometimes that last $20 isn't the end. Sometimes it's the moment that forces you to see differently, act differently, and rise differently. Sometimes $20 becomes the doorway to an entirely new life. So if you're listening to this and life feels heavy, if you feel stuck, lost, or close to giving up, remember this: hope rarely arrives with noise. Most of the time it comes softly, hidden inside small decisions, small actions, small moments. And sometimes, a whole new beginning starts with nothing more than the last $20 in your pocket.